What's up, YouTube fam? So last night, I finished watching the full interview with Andrew Tate and Miss Candace Owens. This was definitely an eye-opener, man. This is a must-watch. Y'all know I usually don't recommend other YouTube videos. I mean, I might mention it. I might put a link in the description. But very rarely do I do a whole video about someone else's video. But this was one of the best ones. This is actually the second time that I've mentioned Candace Owens, actually giving her props about a specific video that she uploaded on YouTube. So big shout out to Candace Owens right now. She's really killing this platform, I would say, in my opinion. It's got like 2 million views in like one day. I mean, that's just... She really broke the record. YouTube, Facebook is the only social media site that I really have and actually use. I do have an Instagram, but I barely ever post anything on there. I'm starting to update all my social media accounts now. You know, I'm getting into that, so I can really start monetizing myself more. But the point is, like, I guess they got more other platforms. I guess it really like broke a record, so you're not gonna really see all that really on YouTube. But man, I guess this video did like so many numbers on like Twitter or Twitch, or I don't know, one of them little platforms. But anyway, it's so big that I have to talk about it, and not only because it's popular and it's trending right now, but because it's just, man, just like the vitality within the video, so to say. Like, this is just some of the best information ever. Great conversation. Now, y'all know, you know, saying Andrew Tate's my boy. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not a big, huge fanboy of him. I don't agree with everything he says. But, you know what I mean? I really like Andrew Tate as far as like a person and just, you know, what he stands for, what he represents. And millions, like, I had no idea how many young men are actually watch this dude and actually listen to him on a daily basis, and just how important he actually is just to the whole manosphere movement and just masculinity, period. Because we already know, y'all. I mean, like, we know that there's a feminist agenda. We know for a fact that the government, the people in power, you know, they want all men to just be weak. They don't want any type of masculinity at all, you know what I mean? And because it feels threatened, not because it's something misogynistic. It's because when you weaken a whole nation of men, it makes it easy for, like, you know, other countries. How y'all doing? Other countries, and you know, it makes other people like able to come in and step in and just pretty much take over. Like, I've made this example a lot of times. If Russia comes and invades the US, who's gonna fight? Honestly, here in the fucking US, who the fuck gonna fight? What, me and a few other like fucking athletes or something? It ain't, come on, man. Ain't nobody really gonna stand up and fight, because nobody gives a fuck, for one, and everybody's like, most of the men are all soft and weak. Soft and weak as fuck. Matter of fact, somebody else on YouTube that I watch a lot, his name's Jake Tran. No, I don't think he's trans. You know, he looks Asian, so I'm assuming, not to sound racist or anything. It's, you know, I'm guessing like the name Tran probably comes from an Asian background, but whatever, you know, hey, dude is dude, you know what I mean? He's him, you know, he's an Asian dude. He's got like the colored hair, you know, he's a very liberal looking person, you know, not to judge, but man, all his videos are great. Like, he really exposes everything, every government conspiracy ever. And he really hits it with facts. He just recently made a video where he uploaded about how the fucking bug in my face. It was a video about how, like, men are getting weaker and how they're chemically putting shit inside of our food. They're putting shit inside the tap water that increases estrogen and all type of crazy shit, y'all. Y'all should check it out. In fact, I'm putting a link in that description as well. I'm putting a link of that video in the description as well. Excuse me. So, now back to this Andrew Tate and Candace Owens thing. First, we'll talk about Tate a little bit. You know, I've already made videos about Mr. Andrew Tate. Y'all should already know who Top G is by now. If you don't, do your fucking research, because it's really not my obligation to fill everybody in on everything. I mean, you got to do some research. You know, if you don't know who Andrew Tate is, especially if you're a young man and you don't know who Andrew Tate is, shame on you. I mean, just come on. Either you've been living under a fucking rock, or the algorithms are just completely against you, or maybe you just been distracted and don't give a fuck, and your mind is just so elsewhere that somehow Andrew Tate didn't even cross your fucking radar. But speaking of Andrew Tate, I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with a lot of what he says. Just like with Miss Candace Owen. When I first saw Candace Owen, it was an interview, or not really an interview. It was like a meeting, like a debate they were having on stage. And it was the rapper Killer Mike, a few other people I don't really know who was, and it was the rapper T.I. That nigga with his expeditiously and trying to, you see the proclamation of the expedition Titus. Man, shut your dumb ass up, nigga. That nigga T.I., I mean, he was crushing Candace Owen on that one. Because when I first seen it, I'm like, yeah, I was with T.I. and I was against Candace Owen. Fast forward years later, now I see what Candace Owens was talking about. People say she's an Uncle Tom, she's a coon. She's a very intelligent black woman who speaks the truth. Now, she may have what we call crackatosis. Shout out to Young Pharaoh for that word. I know it sounds offensive to a lot of my white viewers, but crackatosis was a term by a YouTuber named Young Pharaoh, who basically like a black person who hates being black, or just always wants to attach themselves with white culture or something like that. He says they have a disease called crackatosis. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't feel that way about Candace Owen. I like Candace Owen for many reasons. The number one reason I like Candace Owen is because, like, even though she's very feisty and sometimes she can be a B word, and just like she's very strong-minded and intelligent, but she's still very feminine. Like, she's still very much a woman within her essence and her soul. Like, she's not trying to be a man. She's not acting masculine, or how you doing? You know, she's still a woman. And that's the most beautiful part about it. You know, being feminine doesn't mean be weak. Doesn't mean that you're lesser than a man. Drop my damn beater. You know, it just means that, you know your role as a woman. Men and women have different roles. Now, I don't agree with everything she said, but I agree with a lot of what she says. So now, of course, with everything, you know, speaking, you know, since I gave you a little brief about these two individuals, and I made it clear that I don't agree with everything that they both say, but I do agree with a lot of things they both say, and those two actually don't agree with a lot of things that each other says and what they believe. So what does an intelligent person do? When you have somebody that's also has a high status like you, and you don't agree with them, but you have similar followers and have mutual followers, you bring them on your platform and you sit down and you have a fucking conversation with them. And you talk to them publicly about some of these issues that you have with one another. And that's the great thing you can do. That's why I hate fucking liberal mainstream media, because they never do that. Anybody who disagrees with them, they just shut them out. They just throw fucking insults at them and all type of stuff. You know, when you have somebody that you disagree with, you have you have a discussion about it. You talk to that person, unless it's something that's like life-threatening that you're disagreeing on, or to the point where you just gotta go to war. Now, y'all know me, I'm not against war at the end of the day. I mean, shit, my nigga, if we can't live on the same planet, then we gonna have to go to war. May the best man motherfucking win. That's just how the fuck it is. So, you know what I mean? Fuck all this little soft shit. Oh, let's all hold hands and all that. Let's all just hold each other's dicks. And no, fuck that. The fuck? So, anyway, you know, I'm going to make this video a little shorter than I really anticipate. I want it to be about 20, 30 minutes long, but I'll be done with my walk by then. And, you know, I got shit to do when I get to the house. But I'm going to say this now. There's things that I do agree with both of them, and things that I don't. And they also don't agree with everything that each other says. So, basically, I want to point out a few things in the interview that I agreed with. And then I'm going to point out some things that I didn't agree with. First things, And I say I can't really think of everything really off the top because I'm just going just off the top of my head. I'm not writing on no piece of paper. I'm not reading off no damn teleprompter. You know what I mean? I do these videos raw, y'all. So, what I would say, one of the main things that I noticed is that, you know, Andrew Tate is not the same guy he was, man. They're trying to get him for this whole trafficking thing. Y'all know we take this sex trafficking shit very serious. But the way that it's like the way they're really pushing and reaching. He said some of the realest shit. He said these people, he talking about, law enforcement, fucking detectives, forensic specialists, some of the biggest legal experts in the world have ran through every document that this man owns. They went through every fucking computer, every cell phone he ever owned, every phone company he's ever been with. They have pretty much ransacked his whole entire life, digging and digging and digging to find something, and they have not found anything. So it's funny how these little YouTubers and these little queer ass dudes on all these platforms trying to bash Andrew Tate and trying to talk, oh, he's a misogynist, oh, he's a sex trafficker, he's such a bad person, he's this, he's that. You know what I'm saying, bruh? Come on now, there's nothing. Now, he did admit when he was younger that he ran a webcam business, basically pimping. He had bitches on the webcam showing their ass and titties and they pussy. And yes, he was also fucking these girls. These were like his bitches. Basically, he was basically pimping them, but not the typical, yo, bitch, you better have my money, I'm gonna smack you. It was like, look, you better, you know what I mean? Shit, like you doing this or you gonna get kicked the fuck out. Nobody's forcing you to do it, but you can't stay here. These women willingly did this shit. He didn't put a gun in nobody's head. So it's funny how they say, oh, they say, you know, he's the king of the incels and all these fucking insults. But dude, but it's funny, the same women who talk this shit, how did this man get all these women to work for him? When your average man fucking can't even get a bitch to go out and have ice cream with him. The average man can't even get a bitch to go out to go see a fucking movie with him. But this man had bitches working and doing webcam shit and splitting the money with him, giving him most of the money type shit. You know, he admitted to that. And that's what they're trying to use against this man. He's been talked about this. You know, and what he said in the interviews was just like some real shit. Now, one of the things that I don't agree with is I feel like the man's getting soft. Yes, he is becoming better. You know, he's like, yeah, I'm not on that shit no more, this and that. I want to create virtue. You know, he knows how many people look up to him, how many young men, and he really understands the importance of like doing for the next generations. Because 20, 40 years after he's dead and gone, what is the world going to be like growing up? The man does have daughters. What kind of men are his daughters going to be around when he's not around to protect them? Shit like that. So that's what he's doing this for. That's what he's living for. And I respect the man highly. Listen, y'all, don't take my word for it. Watch the fucking interview. The link is in the fucking description. It's the first link. The first link you see is the Andrew Tate and Candace Owens interview, the full interview. It's about 3 hours long. So yesterday when I was doing my video, that's when I had to listen to it. And I was walking while I was listening. About halfway through, I stopped for about like 10 or 15 minutes to talk about, the UFO sightings and shit. Right after I uploaded the video, as soon as I was done recording, I immediately went back to YouTube and I finished out the rest of the video. I stayed up to about 11 o'clock p.m. last night. Y'all know usually I try to go to bed about 9 or 10 at the latest. I stayed up to about 11:30 just to watch the last hour of the interview. So yeah, I watched the full 3 hours. Not all the way together, but in like bits and pieces. So, man, I'm telling y'all, it's such a great interview. Another thing, Andrew Tate is very religious now. Guess he used to be a Christian. I guess he's a Muslim now. You know, and y'all know my thoughts about religion, so ain't even no point in getting into it. But man, I hate it. I hate that. I mean, not that he found religion and that he's becoming a better person. That's not what I hate. What I hate is that people feel that in order to have virtue or in order to have morality, you gotta follow some type of religion or some type of no, that's not true. If you can't be a good person without the fear of an invisible man in the sky with superpowers, then maybe you're not really a good person. This man said, you know, you have to fear God. You know, I want you to fear God. And, you know, like every man should fear a God. A real good person fears God. No, I disagree, Mr. Andrew Tate. It's one of the few things that I really disagree with that you say. And I wish you would stop saying this shit. I be hearing that man, Elliot Host. I was going to say nigga. But, you know, the man, Elliot Host, which was a great man. One of my mentors. He also talks a lot of that shit. You know, he's a damn Catholic for Christ's sake, no pun intended. But I'm like, shit, man. But you know, I guess to each his own. That's his belief. Whatever type of epiphany that he had that led him to believe that, that's cool. Now he talked about maybe settling down and getting married. I'm like, bro, why the fuck? Like, what the hell, y'all? There's no man. Listen to me. Marriage never benefits a man at all, not one fucking bit. There is no. He said something about maybe you should, you know, sometimes it's good to just go out in faith of love, I don't know, something like that. I forget. He said sometimes it's good to just you know, just walk in faith, you know, of just love, you know, despite on what the consequences could be, you know. Yeah, you can get divorced, you might get fucked over in court, but sometimes when a man's he said some shit like that. I don't know. Shit, if y'all watch the interview, you'll see it. It's in there somewhere. But, and then, you know, Candace Owens, you know, she agreed. But he was still open to polygamy, which y'all know most Muslims, you know, they allow polygamy, which in Christianity they don't. Candace was not really feeling that. She was like, nah, I think you should find one woman. You know, they kind of like laughed and joked it off a little bit. But now, as far as like Candace Owens, and like I said, I used to think she was an Uncle Tom, a coon, all this shit, but now, man, it's like, you know, like over the years, I realized, no, she has the same issues about black culture that I have. It's because she loves herself. She loves herself enough to not group herself into a category of people who are fucking degenerate, regardless of whether the people have the same skin color as her, or whether they share the same fucking complexion or the same race, the same ethnicity and background. Doesn't matter. If you come from a culture where it's all negative and degenerate, I don't want to be a part of that shit. So I respect Candace Owens for that. So, you know, that's where she stands. But she was agreeing with the whole, you know, monogamy thing and the whole Christianity thing. It's almost like she kind of wanted him to go back into the whole Christian mindset. But they both understood. One thing I like about this, even though Candace is a very, very intelligent and very, very feminine black woman, but she still understands how important it is, that masculinity, how important it is for men to be men. So all this gay agenda, no, I'm not against anybody gay, but it's just that, no, it can't be like that. Listen, I know this is going to sound homophobic, but it is what it is. Hear me out. It's okay for a few guys to be soft and feminine and gay and girly, but it's not okay for a large amount of guys to be that. It's just not. Because the more gay men, not even just gay, like who you have sex with is your thing. But you remember, y'all, degeneracy is a no-no. You know, like no matter how you look at it. But whatever. I guess men acting girly, men being feminine and all this transgender shit and men wanting to be women, that shit destroys fucking society. Way more than women acting like men and shit. But even then, like you see how these women are now. They're all fucking promiscuous, doing all this shit, man. And it's just crazy. And we need masculine, strong men in order to protect. Who's going to protect the women? Who's going to protect us from other men outside of the country that's trying to invade and everything? So y'all, listen, y'all, man, y'all, there's so much I could talk about. I'm really so excited. I damn near want to go watch the interview again. That's how good it was. It's a 3-hour interview, but it's great, y'all. It's Candace Owens and Andrew Tate sitting down talking. Y'all, that right there, Candace Owens and Andrew Tate.